Greetings guys, back in Sydney and back at the wonderful Capitol Theatre, and tonight we have been invited to the Australian premiere of the brand new production of Disney's Beauty and the Beast. It is based off the 1991 animated motion picture that also became a smash hit Broadway show in 1994. This is the reimagining and resurgence of that production, and it stars the wonderful Shubshri Kandiah and as well as that Xavier in the roles of Belle and Beast respectively, and also features the wonderful music of Menken and the wonderful lyrics of the late Ashman. We're just about to head in and check out the Australian premiere. Hopefully you enjoy the footage in the meantime, and I'll be back after this to let you know my thoughts on the production and to give you a review of the show. Talk to you soon.
Unless you want to go to the upstairs. And there's one upstairs.
Brilliant. Perfect. Thank you. Fantastic, love that. Fantastic. There you go. Thank you so much. Here we go. Yes. Hello. Thank you. The most wonderful thing about the show is straight to me. Thank you so much. Thank you. It is quite emotional. That's right. Great to meet you. Give up your Thank you.
I was really nervous. Hopefully they're feeling you safe.
Susie, how are you? Thank you.
Bonjour!
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 Look, there she goes, that girl who's strange but special, a most peculiar mademoiselle.
I want adventure in the great wide somewhere. I want it more than I can tell.
Guest, be our guest. Hello. Put our service to the test. Tie your napkin round your neck, Cherie, and we'll provide the rest.
Greetings once again, guys. Just got out of seeing the Australian premiere of the brand new theatrical production courtesy of Disney, and that is Beauty and the Beast. And of course, as you would expect, it is based off the fabulous 1991 animated motion picture that actually was the first animated motion picture to be nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture in the Best Picture category, opposite all the other live action films, so that was quite a feat in itself. Subsequently, it became a hit Broadway musical that ran for somewhere in the vicinity of about 13 years, from about 1994. And also has to be mentioned that during the Oscars, the year it was released, three of its songs, including the title track, were nominated for the Best Original Song at the Oscars, and it obviously won it for the title track Beauty and the Beast. Now, this production, very intriguing indeed. One thing I have to note, a lot of other kind of musicals and Broadway kind of styles of shows that you typically find, they do kind of trail off in the second act, or they kind of lose a bit of momentum and narrative drive. This show does not. It is very consistent all the way through, and that is a lot of credit to the makers of this kind of production. It is really fabulous in many ways, and it incorporates a lot of kind of different style of elements. One notable thing, and I've never really seen a standing ovation right in the middle of the show. I mean, I've kind of witnessed it, but I've never kind of been a part of it. That was after the Be Our Guest kind of extravaganza, you could call it. It's really a fun show, really intricate kind of staging, very colourful, very warm, and I think the Capitol Theatre suits it extremely well. It really does feel like you're in Beast's Castle as you kind of walk around the Capitol Theatre and as you kind of enter the main theatrical kind of space. Stars of the show really, in the role of Belle, is Shubshri Kandiah. She is simply fantastic. Now she's done many kind of roles before, including Princess Jasmine. She's been Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella. But really in this, she does shine, and she really kind of is the focal point, and she really does steal the stage. She's got this fabulous way of phrasing her lyrics. She's got a fantastic voice, and just that theatricality on stage, and that heartwarming nature of hers is really notable and fantastic. I have to give her so much credit for that. Xavier in the role of the Beast. It's a very interesting kind of role because unlike the animated motion picture, you always found that Beast character quite likeable and lovable in some ways, even though he was roguish at the start and kind of becomes a bit warmer towards the end. The first act of this musical, I do find myself feeling that Beast is quite petulant and quite he's not really inherently likable, but then once the second act rolls around, it's quite warm, and how they kind of shift that around is really fantastic. And a lot of that has to be that courtesy has to be given to Xavier for kind of really embodying those two kind of different personas, and I thought it was fantastic from him. And also relatively new performer, but just he has a fantastic voice. I think the only thing is probably there's not enough songs to display his voice in this theatrical kind of production. And a lot of that is based off the stuff that was written for the Broadway production, but really the strength of this production lies with the original music from the motion picture, and that was courtesy of composer Alan Menken, and of course the late Howard Ashman, who wrote some fantastic lyrics for obviously the main songs. Beauty and the Beast is obviously a standout. Be Our Guest, and obviously the opening track is really fantastic. Another thing is just the opening is really sensational in this, and just that music really transports you and brings you back to those memories of first seeing the animated motion picture, and that is something to be given a lot of credit for. Other notable kind of mentions I have to say is Rohan Browne in the role of Lumiere. He's just full of life on stage. He's fantastic in it, very humorous. I do find that the inanimate kind of objects that they play, including the candelabra, the clock, obviously Mrs. Potts, it is a bit hard to kind of really relate in some ways because their costumes are fantastic, but really it's not quite like the animated motion picture where they actually are inanimate objects that kind of transform later on. It's actors and humans essentially playing these roles in these costumes, and they kind of unravel towards the end. And that's another thing, even though you really know what's going to happen in this production, it's still full of surprises, and it still kind of keeps you captivated on the edge of your seat, even though you know what's going to happen. And I think that's a lot of credit to the creative team for this as well. But yeah, Shubshri Kandiah, definitely the standout in this. And Jackson Head, he is the standby in the role of Gaston. I thought he was very memorable, offered a very amusing and notable kind of performance in the role of Gaston, and obviously the original production that was in Australia, that role was played by a very young Hugh Jackman, who kind of made his debut, opposite the wonderful Rachel Beck, who pioneered the role of Belle in Australia all the way back in, I believe it was 1996. So in short, you definitely have to check this production out. It is fantastic. It's got all the Disney warmth and feels. is it the strongest Disney show around? It's probably quite close to it, but really the warming part of this show is the wonderful music by Alan Menken and the wonderful lyrics by Howard Ashman. I have to say, that really carries forth this production and makes it just worth seeing just for that. Just the music is fantastic and it just transports you completely to another place, along with some really intricate kind of staging and some interesting projection special effects. There's at one point in the show they have a storm and rain and lightning, and I thought that was done really well, and I think it's going to keep audiences really surprised with some of the interesting transitions on stage and kind of costume changes and that sort of thing. So definitely check it out for that as well. But yeah, very fun, very noteworthy, and just the music is sensational, and also just seeing Shubshri Kandiah in the role of Belle is an absolute highlight, so check it out for that. Aside from that, I'm about to head off. Definitely recommend this show and catch it while you can. It's at the Capitol Theatre for a little bit of a run before it starts to tour Australia, so definitely check it out. Very much recommended, and very heartwarming and fun and full of love and heart, and I think that's a really important kind of narrative to kind of tell in society today, so definitely check it out while you can. Aside from that, I'm about to head off. Hopefully you enjoy the footage from tonight, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. So long.